think back to my days at school. While the teacher was droning on, talking about coefficients or dangling participles or something, my mind would wander to more interesting topics, wondering why some countries drive on the right side of the road and the others the left. Who invented the laugh track and why? Or how is it that yawning is contagious? Well, if you've always wondered about things like that too, well, you've come to the right place. Welcome to the podcast.
It's the Always Wondered podcast.
Hey, I'm Rick Peterson. We begin by cracking open an ice-cold soft drink. Now, whether you call it soda or pop or soda pop, in this country, it's estimated that the average person consumes around 42 gallons of soft drinks per year. That's a lot of fizzy, bubbly, carbonated goodness.
Excuse me.
Yeah, no worries. But have you always wondered how your favorite soft drink got its name? Well, let's take one more quick swig and try and answer that. One thing that many of the early soft drinks had in common is that they were created and sold in pharmacies. They claimed to be elixirs that could cure all kinds of ailments: headaches, fatigue, nerve disorders, even morphine addiction. But in the end, people drank them because they tasted delicious. Let's start with the king of them all, Coca-Cola. The brainchild of pharmacist Dr. John Pemberton, the very first glass of Coke was poured in 1886. The formula for Coke is the stuff of legends. It's very secretive, and supposedly only a select few have ever known the actual recipe through the ages. Not sure if that's true, but it sounds really cool. But we do know that it was named for two of its main ingredients, the coca leaf and the cola nut. And it made for nice alliteration too, hence Coca-Cola. And yes, cocaine is derived from coca. And yes, the earliest versions of Coke did contain some cocaine. But the process was changed, and cocaine was eliminated by about 1903. And Coke remains as one of the most recognized brand names in the entire world. Always nipping at the heels of Coke has been its arch-rival, Pepsi-Cola.
You're in the Pepsi generation.
Created in 1898 by a pharmacist. See, what did we tell you? Named Caleb Bradham. Originally, it was called Brad's Drink, but was quickly rebranded as Pepsi-Cola because it claimed to cure dyspepsia, also known as indigestion. And here I thought all those cool young people in the Pepsi commercials who were surfing and skiing and riding around in convertibles were actually smiling. Turns out that maybe they were just grimacing due to their indigestion. And that brings us to Dr. Pepper.
I'm a pepper, he's a pepper, she's a pepper, we're a pepper, wouldn't you like to be a pepper too?
Dr. Pepper is the oldest major soft drink brand in the country, invented by yet another pharmacist, Charles Alderton, in 1885 in Waco, Texas. Originally called Waco, later changed to Dr. Pepper. The origin of the name is highly disputed. The most common theory is that it was named after Alderton's mentor, Dr. Charles T. Pepper, but that remains unclear. Almost as unclear as to what kind of soft drink Dr. Pepper actually is. The FDA says Dr. Pepper is not a cola, not a root beer, not a fruit-flavored drink, but instead they created a special category called, appropriately, pepper soda. A couple more quick ones. In World War II Germany, the German Coca-Cola bottling company was prohibited from importing Coca-Cola syrup. Since they couldn't bottle Coke, they needed something else, so they came up with their own drink. The company then held a naming contest amongst their employees. Workers were encouraged to use their imagination. Translated to German, that would be fantasy. The winning employee shortened fantasy to Fanta, and the name stuck. An offshoot of the Fanta line was a lemon-lime flavored drink that Coke decided to bring to the U.S. in 1961. They needed a catchy name. Looking back over the years, Coke had periodically used a friendly elfin character to help advertise Coke. So why not use him to launch the new drink? The name of that elf was Sprite Boy, and the name of their new lemon-lime drink, Sprite. And finally, 7-Up.
The Uncooler.
This is kind of a weird one and a bit hard to pin down, but we can tell you that it was created in 1929. Most reports say it was originally called Bib Label Lithiated Lemon Lime Soda. And yes, it did contain lithium, the same drug that's used to even out mood swings. But later in the 1930s, the name was changed to 7-Up. The reason? Not entirely clear. Lots of different theories though. Some claim it was the 7 ingredients in the recipe. Others say it was because 7-Up was originally sold in 7-ounce bottles instead of the standard 6. Others say that 7 is a reference to the atomic mass of lithium. Or maybe it's just because 7 is a lucky number. We may never know, but we do know this. The government eventually banned the use of lithium in soft drinks. And most importantly, it's a lot easier to write a catchy jingle for 7-Up as compared to the bib label lithiated lemon lime soda.
The Always Wondered podcast.
For our next topic, I couldn't resist, so here we go. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Dozen.
Doesn't who?
Doesn't anyone want to let me in? Okay. Chances are you've heard countless knock-knock jokes over the years, and as a kid you may have told just as many. But have you always wondered where knock-knock jokes got their start? Let's see if we can't come up with a punchline and answer that. Some people believe that the knock-knock joke originated with Shakespeare. They point to a scene in Macbeth where the character says, "Knock, knock, who's there?" But look, I'm no Shakespeare expert, and I probably know about Mayor McCheese more than I do Macbeth. But it's not a joke, there's no punchline there, just the words. So, sorry, Will Shakespeare, to thine own self be true, and I don't think this one is true. So, instead, we fast forward to the 1920s. A craze was born that involved people engaging in little jests, or nifties, as they were called. It would go something like this.
Have you heard of Gladys?
Gladys who?
Gladys the Weekend. Let's party.
Well, those nifties morphed into the knock-knock joke. So by the mid-1930s, knock-knock jokes were the rage. The fad hit critical mass during the presidential election of 1936. FDR was going up against Alf Blandon, whose running mate was named Colonel Frank Knox. Get it? Knox? Knock-knock? That's all it took. The fuse was lit. Soon, knock-knock jokes were all over the radio. Newspapers printed them daily. Advertising got in on the game. Without a doubt, it was the pop culture trend of 1936. It even spawned a top 10 hit on the hit parade that year by Ted Weems and his orchestra.
Who's there? Emma! Emma who? Am I gonna have trouble with you?
But of course, like all popular trends, knock-knock jokes had their critics. They were called senseless and absurd. They said young people were wasting their time engaging in such frivolity. How many times have we heard that through the years? But the die was cast, and love 'em or hate 'em, knock-knock jokes have been with us ever since. So before we put this one to rest, indulge me. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Ears.
Ears who?
Here's one more knock-knock joke. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
A little old lady.
A little old lady who?
Hey, I didn't know you could yodel. Trust me, that one killed back in the 5th grade.
It's the Always Wondered podcast.
Someone you know has some juicy gossip, and you're encouraging them to spill the beans. We know what that means. Give us the inside scoop, the dirt. But have you always wondered where the phrase spill the beans comes from? The most widely accepted explanation is this. In ancient Greece, voting was conducted by using beans. Usually light-colored beans meant a yes vote, dark-colored beans, a no vote. Everyone voted by dropping their bean into a vase. So if someone accidentally, or on purpose, knocked over the vase, they would spill the beans and reveal the results of the election prematurely. I guess it's plausible. But true or not, the phrase definitely spawned a great game for kids.
Don't spill the beans, that's the name of the new exciting bean pot game. Fill the pot up bean by bean, it's the funniest game you've ever seen.
And hey, like many of these idioms, it's always open to debate. So if you have an idea, please spill the beans and let us know.
The Always Wondered podcast.
Well, that's it for this episode. Hopefully you learned a little knowledge that you can use to impress your friends. But once again, we'll leave you with one to ponder. Have you always wondered how skywriters know what they're writing? Like that one up there. Look, it says, I'm Rick Peterson. Thanks for listening.
The Always Wondered podcast. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, and a review. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you pod. Feel free to offer suggestions for future topics or simply reach out to alwayswonderedpodcast@gmail.com.